On this week's episode of The Mari Show.
This is Alicia. Welcome, Alicia. Now, classic. This is classic. He said, she said. Backstage is her ex-boyfriend, Tommy. Alicia says she's 100% certain Tommy's the father of her 2-month-old daughter, Kenley. Tommy says there is no way. In fact, Tommy says he even administered a home DNA test that proved he was not the father. Alicia claims that Tommy tampered with the test.
He had to.
And she is going to be vindicated when the real paternity test results are read. Watch.
Backstage, a DNA test was conducted. DNA samples from the potential fathers and child were taken. The sample was taken using a cotton swab that was swabbed on the inner cheek of each person. Next, polymerase chain reaction, otherwise known as PCR, is conducted. This amplifies the DNA, which allows one to have multiple and identical copies of the original DNA.
There are 3 steps in polymerase chain reaction, also known as PCR. These steps are repeated over and over again. The 3 steps are denaturation, annealing, and extension. In denaturation, in this step, double-stranded DNA molecules are heated up to 94 degrees Celsius, which separates or denatures them so that they become single-stranded. These single strands of DNA then become the templates for the new DNA strands to be made upon. The next step is the annealing of primers. In order for the Taq polymerase to start building a new strand of DNA, it must have something to hook onto along the template DNA. A primer is used to start the process. A primer is a short piece of DNA which is about 20 base pairs long, which will anneal or stick to the DNA template strand where it finds a sequence complementary to its own sequence. Researchers have specific primers with complementary sequences that will flank the portion of the DNA they are interested in amplifying. In order for the primer to anneal to the template strand, then temperature must be lowered to a temperature that will allow it to stick long enough to start making a new strand. The optimum annealing temperature is 55 degrees Celsius for about 30 to 60 seconds.
During extension, the mixture is heated to around 72 degrees Celsius to activate the Taq polymerase. The polymerase attaches to the primer and starts to attach base pairs together. This can continue for as long as there are primers and nucleotides to synthesize new strands of DNA with. Taq polymerase can copy 1,000 base pairs per minute, so at the end of each PCR cycle, the amount of DNA is doubled, which enables small amounts of DNA to be multiplied in order to analyze a very small sample.
Gel electrophoresis is the easiest and the most common way of separating and analyzing the DNA. The purpose of the gel may be to look at the DNA, to qualify it or isolate a particular band. The DNA is visible in the gel by addition of the isolated bromide. This band is drawn to the DNA by intercalculating between the base and the influence, meaning that it can absorb the UV light, so we can see it under the UV light. We use micropipette to load the DNA in each walls near the negative charge. After we plug in the electricity, the DNA are going to move towards the positive charge. Because the DNA have the negative charge, we let the gel run about 1 to 1.5 hours. Under the UV light, we can see the separating of the DNA based on the bands. The smallest DNA move further distance.
Based on the electrophoresis results, the bands from all of the samples can be compared to each other. In our sample, the child has the same DNA as male 1, therefore.
In the case of 2-month-old Kenley, Tommy, you are not